As I sit here staring at a blank page, I find it hard to put into words just how transformational the Institute for Humane Education program has been for me. Before the program, I felt so unsure of myself, like I was a fraud amongst great minds. I needed knowledge, qualifications, or some certificate to prove that I was valuable, that I deserved to offer change to the world. Last spring, I started my journey as a caterpillar. The world around me looked so broken and felt so sad. Is this really it, I thought? Isn't there more? That's when I made the decision to take humane education courses. It was a way to find myself, really. It wasn't to gain a master's degree or to get top grades. I did it for me. It was my search for humanity. Everything else was a bonus. As I began to go through my coursework, my hope began to reappear. I started to see the possibilities of what the world could be again, and I became brave. The courses provided a melody that, when sung together, created this symphony so powerful it makes you want to cry. Intro was like our heart. It showed us how to open ourselves up to the possibility of a new world. Environmental ethics was our mind, showing us the wonder of the world and lending itself to its awe and brilliance. Animal protection and human rights were our arms, used to embrace all species that live on this planet. While culture and change were our legs, teaching us how to walk on to change, each part so critical. I've learned that resistance doesn't need to mean protest. I've learned that if we can't see a problem, we can't fix it. I've learned that looking at the whole is sometimes more valuable than looking at its parts. I've learned that teaching is as much about the delivery as it is about the content. I've learned that nonviolence is the only way to create lasting change. I've learned that social systems are fluid, which means they can change. And the most empowering thing that I learned was that creating change doesn't require much. It doesn't always have to be so complicated. You don't have to be someone in order to do something. It just requires that you take one step, and then you see what happens. I now see opportunity in the face of despair. Along the way, each moment has felt like a piece of me was fitting back into place. I became whole again, and I finally figured out who I was. But how could I help others fit back together too, I often wondered. How can I show them the power that they have inside? There's something so beautiful in each one of us. Imagine what we could do if we just tried. I've used my time in this program as a space to experiment. I wanted to soak in as much information as I could, and I wanted to take every opportunity that was available to me. Every person became my guide. I often looked to what I could learn from those around me, whether that be from my professors, classmates, or from the authors from the books that we read. This was my time to grow, and it felt sacred to me. I felt the metamorphosis process happening within me with each lesson that I learned. I'm no longer trying to be someone else or someone who I think others value, because I don't need to. I have value just by being me. I can use my fear of feeling like a fraud, my insecurities, my shortcomings, my stories, even my humor to connect with others. It also opens the opportunity for others to also share their fears, and we can realize that just maybe we're all the same, trying to get through life. But while we're here, maybe there's something more we can do. When invited to speak, instead of speaking about someone else's ideas, I now share my own. Rather than telling people what to do, I'm showing them what a different life can look like. But while I'm planting the seeds, others will need to make them grow. They are the ones that have to embrace it and make it their own. But I'll be there, waiting for them on the other side. Like a familiar face, I can be their host to this brand new world, a world that's solutionary. By offering my hand, I can invite them in. It may feel scary at first, and it may feel uncertain, but I'm here to guide them and tell them that everything's going to be okay. They can do it. I can be that person that the program was for me. Through this program, I was able to figure out who I was and what I'm capable of. I'm working to shift the paradigm of thinking, and I know I can do it. I'm working to bring awareness to the space where our body ends and where space begins, because this is a space we are working in as activists, educators, advocates, and compassionate beings. I like to propose the following questions to those around me. How do we cultivate this space to make it inclusive, filled with kindness and empathy? How do we bring people into this space, instead of blaming or shaming or shouting at each other? How do we offer our hand out and invite them to be part of a more compassionate world, a world that works for all, instead of creating another world that works just for some? How do we make this space solutionary, in that we focus on developing solutions that are healthy and just for people, animals, and the environment? As I sit here on this beautiful spring day, I think back to exactly 1 year ago and where I began. Solutionary meant coming up with solutions, but now I know it means so much more. The world seemed completely different back then, and I felt truly lost. But now, I'm surrounded with hope, promise, and possibility. And I know there's work to be done, but I also know that I can do it. My might may be small, but it still counts. And we have to remember, just when the caterpillar thought the world was ending, she became a beautiful butterfly.